Hi, I'm introducing something called spiritual love today. And I may do a video thing with this. I may do a podcast thing with this. It's already service marked, so I'm not too worried about it. I need to get these thoughts out because they're coming through. You know, twin flame and spiritual love is exactly the same thing. Spiritual love is your higher self. Okay, so we're going to get a little bit esoteric here. Again, if you want to fully flesh out these concepts and ideas, the mystery school is the place for that. So spiritual love, when we are born, we are infused with one of the 7 chief divinities. You know, the moon, Venus, Mars, Mercury, Saturn, Jupiter, the sun. I would even say Rahu, Ketu, that would take it from 7 to 9. Did you hear me? Those energies are alive in us. We embody them. There's a reason Saturn is the elder, because that's a little bit less of an inner planet, a little bit less of a personal planet. It's more of a generational planet, a generational divinity. And it also, Saturn, is the Lord of Ascension. So until you understand, meaning stand below, stand under the Lord of Ascension, you will never ascend. You will never overstand self-worth and value, discernment, constriction, self-discipline, especially on an emotional level. Spiritual love is knowing that your eternal partner is Great Spirit. Is knowing that there's always a lot bubbling under the surface, that life may tear you apart. It may kick you around, punch you in the face, throw you down the stairs, stab you in the stomach. Sharp, hurting pains because you're feeling betrayed and you're crestfallen. But if you know that you're serving the physical aspect of something that's eternal and divine, you may be able to navigate through that a lot faster, right? Another thing about spiritual love is that in some sense, especially as a light worker or a priestess, you're married to the Creator. And the Creator takes on many forms because the Creator is infinite. It's infinite, undying, unborn, unmanifest, unconditional, unmanifest. Again, unfathomable is what I'm saying. And yes, they're in everything, in everyone. That's why they're prime source creator, but they take on forms. There are emanations, archetypes. And that's really what's going on down here. We're taking on a form and serving a role in the physical for all of us to get our needs met out of this place. The universe is a university for your soul to ascend, to learn the truth of who you are and why you came here. And some people that are not super spiritual will learn that through another person. That's when you have a relationship. And some people are super spiritual and they'll learn that by giving love to other people. They're doing spiritual work. So it's love. Love is the thing that unites. Love is law. And the law acts in 2 different ways. Law will be expansive, expressive, which is love. And law will be contractive, which is hate. There is a such thing as righteous spiritual hate, and it's designed to bring things back into alignment. But oftentimes it will eradicate certain energies. Now, hate we know as humans to be something negative, but it could be a negative vibration, a polarity that won't settle. Hate could be as simple as trying to put 2 magnets together and them being repelled. Remember? Because the opposite of hate is love, and love is law. So there's the principle of order, because we descend into chaos. Chaos is the physical. It's the realm of the devil. The devil is the opposite of lived. Spell devil backwards. I believe that when we die in this realm, we wake up from a dream in a more authentic place. So we're descending into the past, we're descending into darkness to get a handle on the chaos of our soul, the part of us that is chosen to separate from the infinite. That is what the Creator is to me, infinity. That is unfathomable. You can never fully explain that. So that's what spiritual love is. And even if you're a human and you're not spiritual and you're not a light worker and you're learning about yourself through other people, that's also spiritual love, because all of this love is going to bring you back to yourself. All this love is going to connect you to who you truly are, who you were meant to be. You'll hear me say that in your Spirit, Karma, Life Path, Destiny. You know, your soul purpose, your Dharma, who you get to be when you've purified yourself, when you've purified your soul of all the things that separated you from union with the divine. And sometimes you come into union with the divine by loving on another human being and healing through whatever that brings you through, whatever that brings out of the depths of your soul, whatever karma is there. Karma is, it looks to us as wounding, and it is. Karma is wounding, but whatever's alive in you, in your aura, in terms of thoughts, desires, drives, passions, those will, because karma could be positive or negative. It's just an effect, something that you have to go through to get to something else. You have to go through karma to get to your Dharma. Karma purifies you. It's that fire that you're burning in. And that's your light. You are a divine light that descends from the heavens and animates a body. That's the darkness I'm talking about. We're born into sin. We've forgotten our covenant with the Creator. That's why it's damn. Adam, the first man, talks about the DNA. The dam talks about the blood. We're inverted from the Creator. We've forgotten our divinity. The fool walking off the cliff means the descent into matter, and he's foolish because he's forgotten that he is God. God is generator, operator, destroyer. There's a source, and there are many creations by that source. God is created. God is not the creator. When we go towards godliness, we go towards the heavens. Heavens is where God resides. He takes that universal source and he creates from the light. Devil resides in hell. He takes from that universal source and he creates from the darkness. Love is what sends you closer to union. Therefore, you're no longer separated. Therefore, you're no longer in darkness. You don't need to be with another person to do this. Sometimes you have spiritual love. What does that mean? Well, it means things are coming through you, not from you, especially when you're working on behalf of another person. But the sacrifice to make here would be to open up the door to the heart and to align with the world as an open-hearted individual, mastering your divinity and spirituality. So that tends to be about unifying to the soul group, your tribe, more so than it is your person, your twin. Because I believe that your twin flame is already in existence, and it's your higher self. It's the part of you that isn't separated from the infinite source of the divine creator. It's the part that's unified with the creator. And literally, you do need to learn. You need to open up a gate and experience things down here in the physical so that you can learn. That requires, though, for you to be present. Again, I'm finding a lot of things under the surface, bubbling emotions, and you need mastery about the belief that is creating those emotions in order to ascend. I'm finding that going on a path of love or devotion is really more spiritual, even if you're loving on another person, or you can be loving on something on the other side of the veil, will unify you to the soul group. That is the working, that is the ritual, that is the beginning, that is the end. But in order for the gate to open in the spiritual, you need to take actions of love here in the physical. That is why we find all these soulmates, because that is oftentimes the single biggest, most powerful, and strongest way for we to overcome ourselves. What happens when you're with a soulmate? Well, I tell you all the time, you attract a soulmate when you suppress, repress, and project onto other people your shadow, your part of you that's separated from the creator. When you're operating in a higher vibration, you're still repressing, you're still suppressing some kind of wounding. And when you project it onto other people, it doesn't stick. You don't arrive in drama and conflict. You see as it's happening where you're out of alignment, and you walk out of that experience, shifting what's alive in you, showing up to yourself, unifying. Because oftentimes when we project onto other people, we make them responsible for what's going on with us. That's not unifying, that's separating. When you're not longer separating anymore, and sometimes you don't need to be in bed with somebody to be unified with them. Sometimes you don't need to like a person. You don't need to support them, what they do, their behavior, to unify with them. You can unify with them as a human being and recognize that they're serving their purpose here, just like you are, and yours is maybe more in the light, or maybe more harmonious, as one might call it. But we're all serving a divine purpose, and you don't need to make them anything other than what they are, and you can release your expectations and move on to be at purpose, at choice with yourself, empowered. So the more and more and more you do that, either you'll find your twin or you'll become a light worker. Light workers, in my opinion, are married to one of the creator beings, one of those 7 inner planets there. The creator takes on 3 forms. Generator, operator, destroyer. Generator would be Uranus. Operator would be Neptune. Uranus is what applies to spirit. Uranus is what applies to spirit. Neptune is what applies to soul. The source of all creation is Pluto. Power. You have power, force, and form. Power would be Pluto. Force would be Uranus. Form would be Neptune. The oceans. Soul consciousness. Water, receptivity, openness, soul consciousness. Uranus. Spirituality, individualness, psychic ability in terms of vision, sudden insights, spirit, individual sense of breaking out, breaking free, freedom. So that's why we're not including the outer 3 planets, Saturn and below, the traditional visible planets. We are physically one of them. Oftentimes it's your chart ruler and the energies in your first house. Me, myself, I'm Jupiterian. I am a priest. I am really talented as well. That's another thing about Jupiter. Same with Mercury. I also have Saturn. I am an elder in my community. I am a little bit of a sobering experience. And I am very contained at times. And I am a constrictive energy around other people, especially people that are out of alignment. Uranus, I do break people out of paradigms. And I've done my indigenous divination. I know that that's my energies and how it works for me. Now I know what my purpose is. I have Venus in the 8th house. I have Pallas in Pisces. What does that mean? It means my love is hidden and they're probably dead. They're probably on the other side of the veil. Jupiter's in my 5th house. So it means I can meet them all the time, but they're coming out of the spiritual into the physical through the eyes of somebody that's in my soul group. Pallas, which is the part of you that is devoted, not just what you're open and receptive to, Venus, but the part of you that's devoted is Pallas. It's an asteroid. It's in another place. It's in the abyss. It's in the infinite in Pisces. And it's in my heart because my Pisces falls on my 4th house cusp. I'm a Sag rising with Jupiter in the 5th house. So as I put love into myself and others, my heart begins to open. I'm a light worker. I'm a healer. My love exists back home when I'm unified with spirit. Doesn't mean I need to go through a dry life and be celibate the rest of my life. I just know that my twin flame is me and it's going to be anchored to the member of my soul group. And now that I'm not repressing, projecting onto other people, suppressing what's alive in me, projecting it onto other people, I'm not creating karmic situations. So now the wounding comes from me breaking out and breaking free of my own limitations, which right now is my fear of stepping out in front and letting my freak flag fly. You know, being a bigger, brighter, better, gorgeous, stepping into more of my abilities and more ascension. Sometimes I want to slow down and be a little human or be a little bit lazy or take a little bit of time off. Sometimes I don't want everybody looking to me for guidance and advice, but you know what? That's my soul's calling. And the worst thing you can do for karma, worse than giving your power away to a member that you're trying to get in love with, is to not show up to your life's calling. That is the single biggest thing that will impact your life in a karmic capacity. So that's what spiritual love is. You know, I'm finding that it's devotion. It's devotion to going on a journey to unify. Whether it's with a person, whether it's with a place, which is the divine realm. Okay. And ultimately, what we begin to notice is that we're doing a good job at navigating through all of these intense, immense things bubbling up underneath the surface. Typically, there would be emotions, but there could also be passions, drives, desires, ambitions, motivations. Because ultimately, we go on to opening up the door to spirit and crossing that threshold. But we need to surrender with an open heart. Because anything else, it'll be hard to align because we'll be in our mind and we won't be in our hearts. The mind is limited and the mind is a better witness. The heart is a better guide. The heart will tell you, oh, this works for me. Oh, this doesn't work for me. Oh, I like this person. Oh, I don't like this person. The mind will be like, how do I navigate? How do I communicate that? You know, you ask the heart what it wants, it'll know in a moment. You ask the mind what it wants, it'll take into account all these other things that aren't really important. For example, somebody's yelling at me or they're holding a knife to my throat. My heart's going to be like, I don't feel safe. I want to get out of here. The mind will be like, well, where's the doorknob? Do I need to get violent? Do I need to protect myself? Can I say something? Will that be working? Clearly, my boundaries and my values aren't being met. So what do I change in the future? See, the mind's off and running. And that's the secret here. We've got to be from the heart. Doesn't mean you lack sufficient discernment and judgment. Doesn't mean you become a doormat and you let people walk all over you. It means you lead with your heart. Leading with your heart doesn't mean always being lovey-dovey. It just means being open and receptive. You be open, receptive like the Queen of Swords. Practice discernment while you're being open and receptive. This is spiritual love. This is why some people are blocked from twin flame connections, I'm finding, because they're really here to change the world and they want to experience the divine union, and they think that they're going to experience divine union through another person, because that's oftentimes what being in love gives you. It makes you feel unified. But you can do that without a partner. You can do that single and alone and happy and satisfied with yourself. Judgment and emotional mastery is what I'm seeing. And I'll come back again with those concepts and ideas, but I'm going to leave it here. That's the opening for spiritual love. We may turn this into something other than, well, I'm probably going to start a podcast with this. So I'll talk to you soon. Tell me what your opinions are on what I told you here with the spiritual love. I'm very curious to hear your take on it. I'll talk to you soon, everyone. priestessgorgeous.org if you'd like to book a consultation or an assessment. Until we meet again, until we read again, namaste, Dandava, and Ashe. Bye-bye.